Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Joey Galvez, one half of your host of Explain Yourself, and I want to let you guys know about a really cool book from our friend of the show, Eli Shockey. This one is called The Greylock, and it's a story where magic is a commodity. Potions are sold at corner stores. Orcs and dwarves earn a living in cubicles, not on the battlefields. But there are those who resist the house's magic's laws. Branded a criminal and forced to live as a wand for hire, there is a spell slinger they call the Greylock. Check this one out. You guys can pre-order issue 3 right now with code JAN241939, and make sure you guys are heading over to your favorite LCS and letting them know that you want Greylock number 3, and maybe pick up the first 2 issues. You could do that at the Scout web store. So make sure you guys are grabbing the Greylock number 3, JAN241939 at previewsworld.com.
Okay, everybody. I have something really cool to tell you about. If you haven't heard yet about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain here. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one single place. Now, the way that you can do this is you got to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, and then you can get started. It's really fun. We just switched over recently here at All Too Real 2, and I'm enjoying it so far. So be sure to check it out and let us know what you think. Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me via social distancing is...
Matthew Hasse.
Hasse. You
Yeah.
decided to pronounce your name differently now?
Everyone in my life has pretty much pronounced it like that, so I guess, just pretty much just go with the flow.
Progressive.
No, it's
that flow?
Yeah.
Flow from Progressive? Oh, wait, no.
Yeah.
Or Flow from Alice.
Sure.
Kiss my grits. Anyways, so... Today, we had the great opportunity to talk to character actor Stuart Pankin, who is a very familiar face both on the big and the small screen. He's done a lot of theater as well. He's primarily a comic actor. He was nominated 5 times for the Cable Ace Award and a winner for HBO's award-winning series, Not Necessarily the News. He is well known for providing the voice of Earl Sinclair on the sitcom Dinosaurs, which was on in the 90s. It's one of my favorites from that time. He's which is coming to Disney Plus soon, by the way, so make sure you guys sign up for Disney Plus so you can watch that show. And Disney Plus does not sponsor us. I'm just saying that, so just want to make that clear. They don't sponsor us. If they want to, though, they can.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to let them.
You can either pay us in cash or in Pop-Tarts, or half and half.
Yes. Funny story, really quick, while we're on the subject of Pop-Tarts. I went to a different Walmart today than I normally go to after I went to the doctor's, because I had some back problems. So I went to the doctor's, and I went to the Walmart. I could not find the Pop-Tarts.
Really?
I wanted to buy some Pop-Tarts. I was having a crave for them, and I even asked where they were, and nobody knew, because they just remodeled the store. So...
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, nobody knew where the Pop-Tarts were. They're normally down like the breakfast cereal aisle, but they weren't there.
That's sad.
Yeah, so I just gave up, and I decided not to get Pop-Tarts. So, if anybody wants to send me Pop-Tarts, you can.
Mm-hmm.
If you can somehow email them to me, my email address is mike@cullenpark.com. I don't know if you can do that, though. Have they figured out that technology yet, Matt?
No, not yet. Stephen Colbert tried to back in the early 2000s. He tried to push a piece of chocolate cake through the internet wires.
It didn't work.
Yeah, that's how much I know about technology. Internet wires. I don't know what else they call them.
Internet wires. That makes
internet
sense.
Wires.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And he couldn't do it. That was like 2005, 2006. So technology still has not furthered that much in the past 15, 14 years. So maybe in another 15 or 20, you might be able to push through a gummy bear, something small like that, but nothing, nothing substantial.
Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for the whole Star Trek technology. Hopefully, that'll happen someday. Anyways,
before we die, I hope seriously that they could do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's in the last few years of our lives, that would be awesome.
We could just beam to each other's houses and do our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be sweet.
So anyways, back to Stuart.
We're doing a podcast for the next 30 years.
Yes, we are.
Maybe.
If we're still popular and alive, it'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that would be like 10,000 episodes, and
I hope we're still doing it then. So, anyways, Stuart Pankin, back to him. He's a great character actor. He was in a movie we covered in a previous episode of our show, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, which he was great in that. He's done voices for Animaniacs, Batman, Superman, Aladdin, Lilo and Stitch, and Darkwing Duck. He's been in a lot of things, and like I said, you'd know him if you saw him, and such a great guy. It was a great interview that we did, and anything you want to say about it, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, just he was very friendly, very authentic, really easy to... I mean, I didn't say much because I always choke up during interviews, but I did manage to ask 2 questions. So he brought that out of me. If it was someone that was a little bit more reserved, I probably wouldn't have said anything.
So anyways, here we go. Here's our all-to interview with Stuart Pankin. Alrighty. Well, just want to welcome Stuart Pankin to the show today. Stuart, how are things going for you with all the craziness in the world right now?
It's great. It's the greatest few months of my life. It's been exciting and energizing, and creative. It's the best.
Well, that's good.
I wish we had this pandemic a lot earlier.
Why don't you just tell us a little bit about how you got started in like entertainment in general, like when what got you into the interest of acting and everything?
Well, I was kind of always I like to sort of perform and ham it up in front of my family when I was a kid. In our family dinners, I used to sing or make things up, write silly songs, and then in high school I was interested in acting, but the auditorium collapsed. The whole auditorium just collapsed. So there was no theater in high school or junior high school. So that sort of went by the boards. I ended up wanting to be a psychology major in college, So that's what I signed up for. But when that first play, the audition call came out, and I had to walk across this literally dark, lonely campus to go to the building where they were auditioning. I knew that was it. I knew that I wanted to be in some form of show business. And the director and my teacher, and later became my dear friend until he died, Dave Brubaker at college, was just captivating. He was charismatic. So that helped me, besides the ego of most actors who want to perform. That sort of sealed the deal about me being in showbiz. So started in college, really.
That's cool. What was like, I don't know, so far, like, what has been your like favorite thing to perform in?
Plays. My favorite thing has always been, and probably continues to be, theater. I mean, I got a master's degree from Columbia University in theater, Master of Fine Arts. Met my wife, which was great, and performed with her and a lot of other people, you know, around in the East, mostly in the East, for years. I mean, I've probably done about over 80 plays, you know, in my life. But that's where my heart is. That's what I love to perform. I mean, movies and television, quite frankly, they're great, and I've done some things that I'm happy about. But you don't get the satisfaction in movies or television. The demands aren't that great, and therefore the artistic satisfaction isn't that great. You do best you can. You know, I'm lucky enough so that when I've done stuff even early in my career, I used to rewrite stuff, and the producers would be happy about that. Just I used to come in and change lines, try to make them better, and they accepted that. So that was a little bit of artistic freedom. But if you want to ask specifically about things that I remember or that I like doing in film, is that what you want?
Oh no, it's anything's fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, no, I understand the whole theater thing. I used to be an actor on stage, and the instant gratification of acting in front of an audience is always great.
Yeah, the best.
Hey folks, this is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
Matthew Haas.
We just wanted to tell you about our great podcast called Super. It's called All Too Real. And on that show, what do we do, Matt?
We watch biopics, and then we talk about whether or not the movie matched up with the real story or not.
So
it was a lot more exciting than that, though.
Yeah, so we analyze the real story and the real story.
Get it?
Get it?
Real.
You know, yeah, they're spelled differently, folks. You can guess which one I said which way. Anyways, so sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. But we talk about great movies like Shattered Glass and The Social Network and Futile and Stupid Gesture, among others. Those are some of the ones that we've covered so far, and we're going to cover a lot more. So please subscribe on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your great, fun podcasts. And be sure to share it with your friends.
Do it.
And make sure you're not afraid to get all too real. Bye-bye. As far as, like, you know, film and TV go, like, how did you get into, like, film and TV?
Well, the old joke is that when you're in New York, you're always saying to yourself and your friends, how can I get to California? Because it's hard to make a living in New York as an actor. Certainly back in the ancient days, you know, in the 1700s, 1800s, when I was and then when you get to California, the joke is, how can I get back to New York? How can I get back on stage? I was in actually the New York premiere of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat at the Brooklyn Academy, and the call went out for a heavyweight actor, you know, a young, you know, hefty guy, for a thing called the San Pedro Bumps, which was Aaron Spelling's first and last attempt at hour-long comedy, and you didn't have to. I didn't have an agent at the time, but agents could submit you in New York. You can't do that in Los Angeles, but they could do it in New York. So they submitted me, and I got called in and auditioned, and they flew me out to California for a final audition. I got the job. So that's kind of how I got out to California. We kept our apartment in New York for a long time, not knowing what was going to happen. When that show ended, after about 10 episodes, Universal signed me to a holding deal, which meant they give you very little money, but you couldn't do anything for anybody else for a year, But and you had to work for Universal. You had to do a pilot for them, or if there was guests, you had to work for them. And I did that. I just sat around for a long time, and did I did a pilot for them, which was my responsibility. He was the pilot of Car Wash. If you remember the movie Car Wash, we did a pilot of Car Wash. Jenny Aiello was in it, and I don't remember. If you can look it up, Shirley Ralph, who has now become quite the actress, and that came and went. And when the deal was over, I sort of struggled around, took unemployment, and did whatever I could, guest spots and commercials, until Not Necessarily News happened in '82. And after that, things started to roll along once people knew who I was. So that's the story of how I got into film.
Yeah, I remember I was real young when Not Necessarily the News came out, but I remember...
yeah, Mike.
Yeah, but I actually remember watching it when I was a kid. So yeah, that was like my first experience seeing you, of course. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you something. That's cable. There was, pardon the expression, 29% penetration in the community of cable, and that's just cable. That's not pay cable. HBO, not the news, was pay cable. So you were in a minority of people who were able to watch that. And the nice thing about cable was that even though it grew slowly and slowly and slowly, there was a National Cable Television Association, which was very nice to we cable actors. I mean, there was an awards, and they sent you around the country. It was very nice. So it made it seem less than just a weak stepsister of an entertainment entity. And then cable, of course, became pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty powerful.
Yeah, I do remember watching it like as a kid. I don't remember much of it because I was pretty young, like I said, but I just remember because we had HBO and I would watch anything on there, so it was just great.
Well, YouTube.
Yeah,
a lot of those episodes are on YouTube.
Yeah, I've actually watched a couple over the last couple of days, a couple of the sketches and stuff on there. That was pretty good. It still holds up, some of it. I don't know, I'm trying to think. One of the major things that I think everybody would wonder is, like, what advice would you give to anybody who's like thinking of pursuing a career in acting?
They're idiots. I mean, there's 95+% unemployment.
Yeah.
In Screen Actors Guild. I mean, if somebody wants to be an actor like I was when I was a kid, but this was a long time ago, you can't say, if you want to be an actor, you're going to be an actor. Nobody's going to talk you out of it. But the facts are that there's a tremendous amount of people not working, in show business, and theater's even worse because you just can't make a living in theater unless you're a major star and you do Broadway shows and you get, millions of dollars. So if somebody says, I want to be an actor, I've done it in the past. I've said, look, in the old days, it shows how old I am, go to Backstage, go to showbiz sites, get classes, try to take classes. Some unscrupulous casting directors used to pay, get actors to pay for classes, and that was very controversial because that's not good. Because we don't know why that's not good. Yeah. But that's what I would say. That's what I would say to people, because not necessarily that you learn how to act good, but you meet people, and that's the name of the game in showbiz evolution. You have to meet people, like joining theater clubs. It's not that easy, but join a theater club. You join a theater club, you're going to meet a bunch of actors. They're going to give you information. So that's what I would tell people. Join. And you can also audition for. Agents have auditions. Agents have audition moments where a lot of people go in and they read, and then if they're interested in you, they'll sign you, which is a legitimate thing to do. But that's what I would tell people. I mean, you can't talk them out of them, and you can't talk people out of wanting to be show. I would say take classes, audition, and try to meet people.
Yeah, it's all about probably
blackmail.
Oh, wait, blackmail. Blackmail. Yeah.
If you have something on Michael Eisner, you probably just shoot him.
So yeah, previously on our show, we actually covered Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, because we do a lot of direct-to-video sequel reviews, and yeah, I did. That's actually one of the few.
I would have talked to you.
Yeah, I that was a while ago. It was like when we first started, so it was a couple years ago, and I would say it's actually one of the better direct-to-video sequels that we've covered. I think
It was the first direct made-for-video movie. It was actually it was the first one that was designed to go direct to video.
Oh wow!
And Dean Cundy, who was Steven Spielberg's cinematographer for years, he directed. I mean, this is and he had his crew. This was a really good set of people to put this movie together, and Rick was great. And all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm glad to see he's like possibly coming back as an actor now.
Yeah, I know. Ryan Reynolds has got him out of the.
Yeah.
Well, you know, even when I knew him and worked with him, his wife had died, and he wanted to be a father. You know, he just wanted to spend times with his kids. He didn't want his kids to be showbiz widows. You know, that's admirable. Now his kids are probably, you know, older and independent. I'm glad he's coming back. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like it, and I mean, like I said, you know, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves was actually one of the, like, because not a lot of direct-to-video sequels are top-notch, but that one actually I think was. I mean, I think it held up with the other two movies in that series, and it was cool to see you in it. I remember when we covered it, I was like, oh, it's Stuart Pankin. So yeah, that was kind of cool. Like, and I've probably watched that one more than any other direct-to-video sequel I've ever seen for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's well produced. It's fun. It's fun and it's family friendly, which I kind of like. Yeah. Good. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, and you see a young Mila Kunis in it and other people in it. It was kind of cool to see that.
Wow, Mila Kunis. Yeah, I guess I forgot about that because I worked with him. I did a short-lived series with Nick Farino, and Mila was in there too. She was, 3 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that she was, but now that you mentioned it, I remember now.
Yeah, she played like the friend of one of the kids or something in it. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I just remember seeing that. And I was like, is that Mila Kunis? Yeah. So, but I know a lot of people probably listening are interested in, like, there's the dinosaur series is coming on to Disney Plus soon, which I'm very excited about because I haven't watched it since I think they had like reruns on USA or something as a kid, and and so it's been a while. And I remember really loving that show when it was on.
Me too.
Yeah, are you excited about it coming on to Disney Plus so people can see it now?
Well, sure. I'll make 39 cents. It's a great. It's like real. Yeah, it's great. I mean, people. If people ask me for, like now in this pandemic, this isn't a braggy thing, but I used to get autograph requests, 2, 3 a month. I'm getting 2 or 3 a day. They're all dinosaurs. They're all requests for dinosaur autographs. They either pictures or they buy these things. I don't know, Funko boxes. You hear those? Earl, the figure of Earl. They take the figure out, they collapse the box, send it to me with a pen, and they ask me to sign. Tons of people are still interested in that show, and it's a show. It's one of the shows that talk about what you enjoy. I'm most proud of because it was great for adults, it was great for kids, and it was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting choice, dinosaurs for a sitcom, but I mean, somehow it worked. I mean, it was great. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It did work, and I think the reason everybody says, "Why does it go on and on?" It was the most expensive half-hour television show at the time, and maybe even now, to produce, because of the puppets, the maintenance of those huge puppets, and the animatronic effects. And it was just a lot of money to keep that thing going. And I guess it came at a point where everybody said, we've done 3 years of the show. It's time to end it. And then they wrote that wonderful last episode.
Yeah.
And it sort of became extinct. And everybody, people, they talk about dinosaurs. To me, that's what they talk about, that last episode.
That's cool. If interesting. I mean, because you've done, I don't know, a lot of television and theater and movies. If there is anybody that you have not worked with yet that you would love to work with, who would it be?
Wow, I've always been, for years, been a fan of Anthony Hopkins. I like the, and any beautiful woman would be great too. But as far as just thinking about what I could work with, he's been in my mind for years and years and years. I've worked with a lot of great people, but to answer that question, I guess if I had to pick one, it would be him.
Yeah, and speaking like working with a lot of great people, I mean, I know you were in Fatal Attraction. How was that like back then, like when you did that?
It was great.
Yeah,
it was great. It was well, obviously, it turned out to be quite the movie.
Yeah.
At the time, and I'm very grateful to Adrian Lyne. I was doing not necessarily the news at the time, and the producers we shot in New York. The producers said, "Look, why don't you get a guy in New York? A lot of actors in New York." And Adrian Lyne said, "I want Stuart Pankin." And I auditioned for him. I might even auditioned for it twice. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful, because those people, I was doing not the news, and they flew me back and forth to New York once a week for a month to do my stuff. And you can't thank a guy enough for that. I mean, that kind of, I don't know, it's not loyalty but that kind of respect or whatever was spectacular, and he didn't have to do it. And he's responsible for that movie being as good as it is. I mean, it was his vision. Because I've seen him on the set just mold actors and shape scenes and things. No, I'm grateful to the movie. I'm grateful to him. Grateful to Glenn Close for not killing me. Nice meeting Michael Douglas, Archer. I mean, it was great. It was a great experience.
I mean, it's definitely a classic, and something that I think everybody that's interested in film should see. That movie.
Oh yeah.
Do you have anything, Matt, that you wanted to ask Stuart while we're here?
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? Yeah, I this kind of goes back to the question about the advice, I guess, but it's more along the lines of like what would you say like to people who are kind of like on lean times when it comes to acting? Because you said like there's like 95% unemployment, and I assume that maybe even in your career that you weren't getting like consistent jobs like year after year after year. So like what would you do to kind of sort of keep the faith, so to speak, to just keep on going?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, things were after '78 until Not the News. Things were tough. And after '82, when Not the News started, I'm lucky enough to work pretty consistent. I've never had to have a bread and butter job, and I'm kind of grateful about that. As far as telling people today what to do, well, there's nothing going on now, so that's the problem. You can't tell them, it's even hard to say get a bread and butter job, because the people that had essential jobs or whatever are now out of work. I mean, there's no place to work nowadays because of this damn pandemic. So that's tough. That's a pretty unanswerable question. If you want to be an actor, and you're not an actor, and you haven't had some sort of track record or success, it's trouble. I mean, that's just, in my opinion, just the bottom line. That's the truth. You're not going to say, well, you go to Walmart and get a job. Well, there are none. You can't. People losing their businesses. People losing their livelihoods. People losing their homes now. So, as far as acting, it might not be an essential, whatever job, but it's important, and when it starts to come back, hopefully, when things open up, those people will have a chance to, I don't know, either work in extra work or try to get day jobs. I mean, but there's no answer to that question. It's bleak right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard to say when things might get back to a normal of any kind. So,
I mean, Fauci said recently that he thinks it's going to be a year and a half before the theaters will open up and let people. I mean, look, it's possible that there'll be protocols in place. I'm thinking, if everybody in the cast tests negative and they're doing shows, and they're having shows done, COVID safe shows with barriers and the actors. But I can see theaters, maybe not the huge Broadway theaters because it's too expensive, but smaller theaters selling a limited amount of seats, keeping people in distance so that people can act. That might not be feasible because the less people you have, the less money comes in. You still can't make a living. So it's I hate to use the word bleak again, but it looks bleak for a while.
Yeah, because I mean, I know that probably a lot of smaller, like mom and pop sort of theaters of like movie theaters and live stage theaters are probably gonna not survive this, unfortunately.
Yeah,
which is
I
kind
think
of
you're
sad.
right.
Yeah,
It's happened already.
yeah, and yeah, working at Walmart's not fun. Just trust me, because I actually work there right now. So yeah, yeah.
My sister-in-law works at Walmart. She's happy to have her job.
I'm happy to have the job there that I have right now because at least because I need something to pay my rent. So yeah, but the nothing against it. It's just I've been there 10 years, so yeah. But I still make films in the side, so it's and do this podcast, so at least I have something that I enjoy doing on besides.
I mean,
so.
that's the way to go nowadays. I mean, people are coming up with incredibly creative ways to use podcasts and Zoom and putting in, to me, unbelievably complex people together, large cast to do musicals and sing and play. I mean, people. It's I think as a group, as a species, we need to be creative. I mean, if you're an actor or musician, you need to do something. You can't sit, and that's fostering the Zoom things and the people playing guitars and people singing, people making up COVID songs. I mean, we all have to do that, and if you can, like this, this is a great thing. I mean, there are times if I wasn't so ancient and near death, I would look into something like this.
Hi, folks. This is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
manager Matthew Haas.
You got promoted?
Yes.
Damn it. Okay. Anyways, folks, do you like the show Superstore? I don't know. I asked the folks and nobody's answering me.
Because they're not here.
Oh,
but we love
damn it. Yeah, we love it, though. Okay, folks, if you like it as much as we do, you're really going to like the Super Story podcast, which is a podcast where Matthew and I go episode by episode and give our little opinions and thoughts on it. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Just depends on how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And, so if you like this podcast and like our little crazy banter,
then you should definitely check this out, or I might get sad. And when I get sad, it gets pretty sad.
Yeah,
so
I can't deal with him when he's sad.
Yeah, no one can really. So
yeah. So check out Super Story Podcast right here where you get this podcast, Super Story Podcast. I mean, it's interesting to see like the creative ways that people are doing things. I know there's like a show on NBC coming out that looks like it's all shot on Zoom or something soon. So it's
really?
Some kind of sitcom I just saw an ad for. So yeah, it's interesting to see what people are doing. And I mean, I'm thinking of actually filming a thriller done all on like Zoom sort of thing soon.
I've done a bunch of Zoom play readings, and I find them kind of frustrating because they're reading the scripts and reading movies. These guys get together and I find it really frustrating and really unsatisfying.
Yeah.
I told my friend who does it, I don't want to produce scripts because lots of them involve stage directions and things that don't involve talking. I said, I'll do plays because that's mostly because then your narrator has a much smaller role. But doing stuff like that, and I wish I would, but doing stuff, I know doing plays on Zoom, boy, it's hard. I mean, it's technically hard and artistically hard. But, good luck to everybody out there who's trying to do it.
Yeah, you got to deal with the limitations of it, but I'm sure it's kind of hard to... because you're not in the same room as the person, so it's hard to get the reaction of the actors off of each other.
Exactly. I mean, I told my friend actually if he was going to do play readings, do it. I don't know if you can do it. I'm sure you can do it, but have all the actors on the screen. You know, so at least people, you don't have to camera cut and miss lines and come in early. You know, that's a technical problem that you know, that needs to be addressed if you're going to do this stuff.
Yeah.
But enough about me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you.
So, what kind of what projects that you have like in the can that are coming out anytime soon that you know you might want to tell people about?
Sure. I did a couple of movies pre-pandemic. One is called Deep in the Forest, which the trailer is now on Facebook or YouTube, wherever it is. That's just been cut together, and that'll come out. I don't know where. I mean, it'll be streaming, or hopefully they'll sell it to a Netflix or whatever they're going to sell it to. So that's coming out. I also did a movie with the wonderful Mariette Hartley, which is an autobiographical movie of her life.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and we got that in the can just before the pandemic broke. So those things, I'm not sure what's happening with that, but those are two things that are, you know, that are coming out.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see those. I mean, that Mariette Hartley one seems interesting. I mean, yeah.
Done it though,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen any of that. I've seen some of the footage of the other one, but not, yeah. They're cutting it together. It's kind of her life with her husband Jerry Soroka, who's a dear old friend of mine and a very funny guy, and I'm wishing them the best for that because she is a sweetheart. She just
Yeah, I hadn't thought about her in a little bit here, but yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I love her as an actress and everything. So.
Yeah, she's great.
What would be like the any, I don't know, anything else you want to talk about while we're here? Just, you know, anything on your mind just before we end this?
Well, I got a stiff elbow here. If anybody can help me with that,
maybe, you know, if
well,
somebody's listening.
We talked about we talked about lots of stuff. I mean, you know, we can talk about individual products, productions, but you know, people can find that on IMDb if they're interested in me.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I've told you what's coming up. I told you what I did.
Yeah.
I've been doing it
Just
30
making
years,
sure.
So.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
What about any
go ahead.
hobbies? Do you have any hobbies outside
Used
of
to play golf. Used to play golf, and but that hasn't happened in a while. And I used to just sort of like memorize Shakespeare stuff just for fun, just to keep my mind going. Haven't done that in a while. And line dancing. I do that all the time. No, I don't.
Line dancing.
But that's it. That's my life.
That's cool. How have you been keeping yourself occupied during the pandemic? I mean, anything like just, you know, just watching TV and stuff, or like everybody else?
I'm watching TV. I'm happy to do stuff like this when people ask me.
Yeah.
You know, you go out and mail the mail. That's a big day for us. Going out and mail the mail, pick up groceries, putting in an order at Ralph's, picking up groceries. These are big days. Big, exciting thing. No, but you know, I mean, I have friends who haven't been out of the house in 6 months. I mean, literally haven't been out of the house in 6 months. We have been, not a lot. My wife actually just went down to a supermarket the other day. She hadn't been out for 6 months. She says, I just got to do it. She goes early when it's kind of empty, and she loved it. I mean, it was like, you know, she went to Paris or something.
Yeah.
to go to a food store. But you know, I stay in a lot. You know, I watch some TV, I read the paper. You know, write the great American novel. Nothing. It's
yeah, it's
a lot of other people do.
Just
You guys are lucky to do this. This is a great thing to do. And my friends who do the Zoom play readings, even, and the script readings. That's keeps you busy, keeps you active.
Yeah, and anything with this quote unquote new normal that they got going on, because it's just such a weird world, and you know, there's everything going on, like with the, you know, there's the pandemic, protests, the fires out where you are, and everything. Yeah. And there's just, I don't know.
It's a very bad time for lots of reasons, and the problem is, well, except for the fires, there's no end in sight. There's no light at the end of the tunnel, and that's the problem, because information changes every day, and nobody knows anything. Things change. Oh, you can do this. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, you can do that. So people are not only confused but frustrated and needing information. What's safe, what's not safe. I mean, the mask industry. If I 6 months ago, if I'd invested in the mask industry, I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole new thing now that's coming out. You can't swing a dead cat, probably from COVID, and not see somebody trying to study it. Probably trying to say some new PPE, some new mask, some new device to keep yourself safe. That's another thing people don't know. I'm not going to buy anything that's not tested. They have these lists of things that say, "Oh, it's the greatest mask I ever used," or "Oh, it's the greatest sanitizer I ever used." I said, I don't care what you think. I want to know from the manufacturers: is it safe? Does it prevent you from COVID? Does it kill COVID?
Yeah.
I was at the dentist the other day, another big day, and I saw that they had wipes. And I said, "Can I buy one of those? Does it kill COVID?" He said, "Yeah." So at least I trust that. But people don't know anything, and the information is so scattered and false sometimes. It's just a very frustrating time. I mean, and with the protests and the fires to add to that, it's just wow.
Yeah, it's a crazy year, and hopefully it gets better within the next year or two at least. And yeah, and where can people find you online if they wanted to look you up or anything?
Well, I don't have a website. I mean, they can go to Facebook, look me up there. IMDb, which is, I don't know if anybody knows what that is. We do, but
yeah,
they can certainly find me on that and see what's going on, see what I've done, see what's coming up. And that's it. I guess I have a Twitter account. My daughter-in-law forced me to have one. I don't know. I never look at it. I don't know how to work it. Instagram, all that other stuff, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, and I barely use any of that stuff myself. I mean, once in a while, just mainly Facebook with me. But beyond that, I kind of don't even understand why we have all these different things. So.
I'm very proud that I'm here on Skype. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to use Zoom. I haven't used that yet, so Skype is the first thing.
That I know.
Yeah.
That I know.
Yeah.
I know you do.
I'll figure it out. I mean, I have to for some upcoming interviews, so definitely will. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, but yeah, it was great talking to you. And
you guys.
Yeah, well, we'll try to have you back on sometime or something. And definitely, yeah, it was great. And anyways, thank you, I guess.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
it was great. Thank you very much. It's always fun to do stuff like this. It's just you dig into your past and you say, "Oh yeah, I remember. I used to be in show business." So it's
whatever happened before the pandemic. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty. And you have a great night.
Thanks, guys. A pleasure talking.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Okay. That was a great interview. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed that. Any final thoughts here, Matt, before we wrap things up?
No, just be gentle with yourselves. Be kind. Oh, I sound like Ellen now. No, be kind. Have fun. Don't let the bed bugs bite. All those things.
Don't eat yellow snow.
Yeah, that's true. Don't do that.
Don't take wooden nickels.
I never heard that one.
Yeah.
That's good advice. Why should you? I mean,
no. A penny saved is a penny earned.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look both ways before you cross the street.
Yep. Always make sure to stop even at a yield sign, because you never know if someone's going to be, driving really fast, so you should just stop at a yield sign. Do they even have yield signs anymore or not? I'm not sure if they do that anymore, but
I don't know. Since this pandemic started, I don't know what the world is like,
Yeah.
They might have got rid of things.
Make sure to eat Pop-Tarts if you like Pop-Tarts.
Yes. And if Kellogg's Pop-Tarts would like to sponsor our show, you can reach me at mike@cullenpark.com. Same thing with Disney Plus. If you would like to sponsor us, it's mike@cullenpark.com. Mm-hmm. Or if anybody would like to sponsor us, it's mike@cullenpark.com.
Mm-hmm. If mike@cullenpark.com would like to sponsor, email mike@cullenpark.com.
Wow, I might do that after the show.
Wait, can you email yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll have listed in our show notes some links to some places you can help people out during the craziness that's going on in this world right now. Help people with Black Lives Matter issues, with the pandemic issues, many other issues that are going on in this crazy world of 2020 that we're living in. So make sure you look for those, and help if you can. If not, share them with people, and just be good to each other. Be excellent to each other, as Bill and Ted would say.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
yes. And make sure, I think it's in October or something, check out Stuart Pankin's voice in Dinosaurs on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Do it.
Recommend that. And anyways, for now, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.